Yeah.
Okay. So we were just talking about app ideas. So we're going to start off the meeting just kind of going through some possible app ideas. Start early. That way we're not trying to figure it out last minute. It's a good question. I was trying to figure out a useful app that had something to do with the GitHub API that I was using, mainly because I already know that we can connect to it and we're not going to have cross-origin problems and things like that. As far as useful GitHub app, I'm not sure. That's what I'm having a problem with, but I'm trying to avoid, because the main place where we'll get hung up on this project will probably be trying to interact with whatever API we choose.
Well, what's the app going to do?
So I was thinking, as far as GitHub API, we could do something as far as listing out open source projects, and then I don't know, the more I talk about it, the more I don't think it'd be that useful, but there's all sorts of data you can pull from it, so you can really just have it be like your most viewed repos or something like that. I don't know how in depth our app needs to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I haven't read anything on. Did you look ahead and read anything as to what the project's supposed to look like?
Did you read week seven's doc that he sent out?
Oh, I haven't. I mean, I got it and I put it on my desktop. I haven't read it yet.
Okay, so that's where he goes through and he mentions
Oh,
it.
okay.
He doesn't give a lot of details. He just kind of talks about it. So that's what I started thinking. But we really don't need to do the GitHub one, because the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, it sounds kind of boring. What he did say, though, he did give some just basic guidelines of like, don't do like food storage apps, things like that. I guess they've just been done before in the past.
Food storage? Oh, you mean?
So let's see, I'm going to pull it up real quick and I'll share my screen.
You're gonna? Well, I'm looking at the at what he wrote. Is
Okay.
that what you're gonna show me, or?
Yeah, I'm just going to pull it up and kind of.
Oh, yeah. Where does he talk about it? Oh, there it is. Weeks 11, 12, and 13.
We'll actually do one thing and do it very well. You should not have any trouble doing this in the weeks available to you. You've done well learning the topics. Now just put them into a coherent, integrated application. We will talk about project plans in week 8 and 9. The project plan will be a big help in keeping everyone accountable. And then he starts yelling. He says, get your ideas for your team app immediately this week.
Well, okay. So we need Ajax, local storage, DOM, and CSS3.
Yeah. So local storage, so we can have an app that needs to use Ajax. I'm thinking of like an API out there somewhere, because I don't want to have to put together like our own database and all that, because that'd be a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if I'm just thinking about that, but I guess we don't have to come up with an answer tonight, but I thought I would just start the conversation, and then I can do some more research.
Hmm.
Is there anything that you would like to do, like focus on, and then we can try and
Well, you started talking about um, using the GitHub API, and then you said, well, that'd probably be a boring app. But so, what did you envision that how to use that API and what would it do?
yeah, I was thinking maybe it may not be too bad of an idea. It would just be something to where maybe we would like an easy to view repos for yourself kind of thing. Like you put in your repo name and then you can kind of view them like that. It's not anything new to what you can't do on GitHub, but I guess we could just format it to look nice on mobile.
Well, it would be better if you could list them. Have a sheet where you're listing them, and you can select them and go to it. But I don't know.
Yeah, and that wouldn't be hard to do at all because I did that in some of the examples. So it could be something like that, or it could have a list of maybe it could be like one popular thing I know in the development world is open source projects, and people like to see that you've contributed to open source projects. So maybe we could do something to where we list the top 10 open source projects based on how many pull requests it has, and that would identify kind of the most popular ones, the most active ones. And that way it would be an easy, like if you're looking to contribute to an open source project, you could say, oh, those are ones that are being worked on right now. Let me see if I can get in.
Yeah, apparently you can still hear me, but my green light and looks like I'm frozen, and my green light is not working.
Okay, yeah, I can see your picture, but your mouth's not moving or anything.
No, it's I don't know what happened, but I'm not gonna, close it and reopen it again.
Yeah, no,
As
that's
long
totally
as you
fine.
can hear me, that's fine.
Yeah, so maybe that'll be a good idea. It'll be like an open source project, easy finder kind of thing. And then you could click on the open source project and view information about it and get an idea. Like maybe we could view the README and things like that.
So, how does GitHub gauge your utility of the open source?
That's what I'll have to. Yeah, that's a good question. That's what I don't know at this point. If there's a way to see that or not.
This is the first I've heard of it, so I'm just asking out of ignorance. But
No, yeah, it's a good question. I don't know either, so I'll have to look into that. But maybe on Wednesday I can have done a little bit more research and see if that's a good path to go down, or if that will just be too confusing or whatever. But
what you said that some people gauge your contributions and stuff. Who's that? Employers or instructors?
employers like to see that you've contributed to open source projects and things like that.
Oh,
so then you're like active in the community and things like that.
Oh, okay. So then you could share the app with them, and then they could pull up what you've done in the open source world.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds useful.
Yeah, it does sound useful. I just kind of the question you posed before, how do you figure out if it's open source or not? And maybe we don't even need to worry about that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep thinking about that. Yeah, just keep that on your mind if you have any ideas of things you want to do. And we can.
Well, I haven't looked at the GitHub API. Where do you find that? I suppose.
Let me.
Yeah, you're still sharing your screen. So if you go to GitHub and Oh, there it is right there, GitHub API.
And it's very thorough.
Okay, well, that might be worth, yeah. I mean, it basically tells you what information you can extract, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I was thinking it might be a good idea, just because the API is thorough and kind of lets you know what you can and can't do, so to speak. So.
And then just, how do you contribute in the source world, in the source code world?
Having talked about that, I haven't actually done much of it, but I see, usually the way that it works. Do you know what a pull request is?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I think you would first have to get permission to work on a project. So you'd have to email whoever is in charge of it, and they kind of get your permission set up, and then you would make a pull request, depending on what you've worked on, and then whoever would review that and make sure that it's not going to break everything else. And then you can just contribute. I'm sure it varies from project to project, depending on how you can contribute and things like that.
So what you mean? There's a community out there that says, "Gee, I want to do this," and then who's going to help me, type thing.
Yeah, there's even companies that do open source projects. So they just open source their code. That way, anybody that wants to can come in and help them out and make it better.
Oh, interesting. So you would have like a repository of, maybe some of the stuff that you had developed, and then, this is where I want to go with it, and then other people contribute, huh?
Yeah, and so for example, like Ubuntu or Fedora, some of those Linux operating systems, they're open source, meaning that the community just built it. There was no like real company behind it.
Oh, okay. I'm taking a database class 225, and they're using Fedora.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, so I don't remember if Fedora is completely open source, but I know a lot of those projects start out that way. So they just kind of, someone has an idea and they just start trying to get a community built up around it.
But it's all done on a GitHub repository type thing.
Right.
Hmm.
There's also something called gists, which are just like little, they're just little like code snippets. So another idea could be to make an app that can share a gist. Like if you were on your phone or something and you wanted to send a gist to someone, like just a little code snippet showing them what you got.
Hmm.
Do something like that, but
I'm unfamiliar with that too. A gist?
yeah, gist.
Gist. Okay.
Interesting. Interesting.
So this is just open source code.
I think GitHub, I don't know how GitHub does it, but this is like an API, for example, just allows you to extend its functionality. So I think the reason that people build public APIs like GitHub is because they've got all this information on hand and they want to make it useful for developers to be able to go out there and build off of it. So they create a public API so people can just build off of their software and make their own cool things. And the more that people build cool things with your API, the more noticed you become in return. And so a lot of companies like Twitter or just a ton of them out there allow their APIs to be public, their data to be public, and then they can kind of spread their their name that way, I think.
Okay.
But there's a lot of information that GitHub allows you to get, so I don't know. I'll have to scour this a little bit more and see.
Yeah, I remember when we did the Facebook, we used Facebook API, and yeah, they brought you to a developer site, and yeah, it was a lot of work going through what they had, and I think we had like 5 or 6 weeks. I think it was about half the course. We only got 3 weeks.
Yeah, we could also just do something like this, like popular APIs.
Yeah, before we did the Facebook project, we had, I think we went to a movie site where you use their API to basically do a search, and then it gave you all the other information it had on that movie, including a poster. You could extract a poster from their site.
This is interesting.
What are you
Yeah,
showing
so
me
I'll
there?
have to look some more because this site just lists out interesting APIs to work with. So this one called Social Swoop lets developers identify a person's interests based on information culled from their email address.
Who owns that information?
I don't know. It's kind of scary, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to do that for myself. See what that.
I know, right? Huh, interesting.
So then you would, if you had somebody's email, then you would create an app that would extract certain bits of information about that person.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a huge marketing tool because
Yeah.
if you had a database of users and you wanted to figure out how to market to them, you could just figure out what their interests are and go with that. That would actually be kind of a fun one, in my opinion, because you can be kind of, I don't know, it's just interesting to find that stuff out, I guess.
Yeah, I know someone's using information. Every time I do a search like Amazon, just recently I did Amazon search for eye drops that I use. Walmart stopped carrying them. And sure enough, and then it was too much. It cost too much to get it on Amazon. But sure enough, I kept seeing ads pop up, in my as I'm just regular, browsing the internet, an ad will pop up in the margins, for that product.
I'm gonna see if they'll. So, like a site like this, I hope it doesn't cost anything. We'll find out. But I'm gonna. Oh, I have to enter a phone number.
They're gonna find out all about you. What's this, Social Swoops, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Social Swoop with an E.
Get an API, huh? Want to know what your customers are interested in? Social Swoop identifies a person's interest in just an email address. Try it for free today. So this is probably one of those like you can try it free for a certain amount of time and then you have to pay for it.
Oh, yeah, I don't like those.
Let me see if it'll let me.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
take all your information, and then you have to actually physically cancel them.
Yeah, so I mean, oh yeah, see there's so many of them. Google Maps, Twitter, YouTube. You guys did Facebook, which is right here.
Mm-hmm. I forget that Twilio.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, one of the guys on our team was had suggested that. I forgot what his app, what he wanted his app to do, but I had never heard of Twilio before.
I don't know what that is either.
I went and registered on site and everything. I still have an account there.
Oh, really? That's funny. Like the same bookmarks from any computer and app. Scope, single purpose API. That might be the best. So this just says it's a social bookmarking site. Allows you to store your bookmarks online, which allows you to access the same bookmarks from any computer. That might be kind of it might be more in the scope of our class.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's actually pretty useful. So if you use that API, you know how you carry your computer around if you have a laptop or if you're at home, you've always got your bookmarks there. But it'd be nice to have all your bookmarks that you use just on your mobile device, and then you can bookmark sites, send it to this app.
That might be easy enough for a 3-week project.
Yeah, it might be. That might be the best one I've seen yet. So I'll make a note of this one.
Okay, and I think, I just got a smartphone for the first time. I had a flip up till now. I think that was an option. At one point, it gave me an option to transfer my bookmarks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know what the app was called. I didn't do it because I don't need all my bookmarks on my phone.
Yeah.
So I just denied it. But so something out there already exists, but we'll make something.
Yeah,
we can make something unique.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to end up creating anything
No,
particularly new, but interesting. Single purpose API. So what I'll do.
So that's all this site does. That's all it offers is transferring your bookmarks to any device, huh?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Cool.
This is what I'll start doing. This way we can kind of get a head start. This programmable web shows the most popular APIs out there. So what I'll start doing is we'll just go through these for the next couple minutes and see some that kind of catch our eye.
All right.
And then we'll just kind of post this list at the beginning in the comments section. And from there, we can start narrowing that down a little bit.
In what comments section?
Just like whenever I post this this YouTube video.
Okay. Wow, Facebook is #1. That thing's painful to work with.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's useful though.
Well, yeah, because you have this huge audience too.
Exactly, yeah. Twitter, Facebook, Google Maps, yeah, all those are popular. Most popular APIs used at hackathons.
I just saw Flickr. I haven't gone to Flickr in a long time, but I wonder if there's something to where you could pull images out that you have on Flickr and just like display 10 or 12 of them or something, based on a search, something like if you tagged some person or something, then you could just pull out that person.
That's a good idea. I'm going to put that down. Flickr.
Image search type thing.
It says one of the most popular ones is Twilio.
There's Twilio again, huh?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Is that something to do with Twitter? Or is it?
I don't know. It says Twilio provides a simple hosted API and markup language for businesses to quickly build scalable, reliable, and advanced
Yeah.
voice and SMS communications applications. Provides a telephony infrastructure web service in the cloud, enabling web programmers to integrate real-time phone calls into their applications. Oh, okay. I see why it's popular, but I don't know if that's our best bet.
So it's strictly, it's mostly with phone numbers, huh?
Yeah. Wonder what Google Plus's API. Interesting.
I'm seeing some similar things where this one, just on that last page you had there, it talked about RESTful, and on another page, um, the OAuth, the process of getting authorizations through
Oh yeah.
have you ever used OAuth before?
I think we did. We used Google's authentication in a project we did 2 semesters ago in the mobile. It was like the Android class where we developed an Android.
Uh-huh.
So we used that a little bit. OAuth, I think, is just a way for you to have a centralized authentication. So, for example, like for our, what is that? Oh, for BYU Idaho, for iLearn, you log in, and then that gives you access to everything behind it.
Right.
Kind of idea. I don't know. I don't know a ton about it.
So I don't know, maybe if you work with a developer site, then maybe you don't get into the nitty-gritty of getting certificates and stuff. I don't know.
I don't know. That's a good question. So, because you guys dealt with that a lot with doing Facebook, huh?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
You know, it'd be a fun one, and I think fairly easy,
Yeah, go ahead.
is an app that would allow you to. Have you ever used Google Fonts before?
Google Fonts. Yeah, as far as,
For different projects, you can just go to Google Fonts,
right.
and it shows you all these different kinds of fonts, and then you can hit the plus button right here,
Uh-huh.
and then you can include this
Right.
in.
Yeah, I was
That-
say, yeah, I remember like on it's like some HTML thing where you include some font from some other site so that the new browser would like download onto the new browser, or I don't know if it actually downloads or it just notifies the new browser that you want to use this font on this page type thing.
Right. So one thing we could do is just do a font pairing site. So these exist out there. Font pair. So like this one, if you're like developing a website but you don't want to worry a lot about choosing text, you can just come to a site like this and it shows you like different texts that look good together, different fonts. The nice thing is that with Google Fonts, if you choose a font, it shows you popular pairings.
Oh, okay.
So what we could do is we could have a pretty simple site that just shows you font pairings. So that way you could just quickly scroll through it, see the name of the fonts, and then maybe click on it and it takes you to the actual Google Fonts page. But that way it's just a really simple application, shows you maybe like the most popular ones, and then you can it'll be maybe one of those apps where when you scroll down to the bottom, it loads more. You ever seen these apps? So like, Facebook's the perfect example. So, for example, like Facebook, as you scroll down, it gives you more content. You see how it loads?
Yeah.
So that's one thing we could do is we could just list like most popular down, and then just as you scroll, it just gives you the next 5 results. And you could just click on fonts and then choose which ones you want. So that's an idea.
You mean it would change the Facebook fonts?
No, so I'm thinking even simpler than that. This would just, it'd be pretty much exactly like this site. It would show you like a header and a body text, show you an example of the fonts, the names of them, and then if you click on it, it would take you to Google Fonts.
Okay, you're saying the functionality would be that you just scroll through it.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying, yeah.
And maybe there could be like a little toolbar that does these different kinds or something. But it's like a really simple idea that you can add functionality to. So that's a possibility. I think we've got, so far, we've got about 4 different APIs. Do you think that's pretty good?
Sure. That's a start.
Yeah, just to start.
I forgot what the first one was.
Yeah, I did too, actually.
What was delicious? Yeah. What did you want to do with it?
Oh, that's right. Delicious was the social bookmarking one. So that one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That was the first one. Okay.
Yeah. Flickr, Google Fonts. Okay. So actually, we just have 3. Do you think one of those 3 would be a good possibility?
Well, that's a start. Sure. I mean,
yeah, we'll give it a shot.
Once you look into the API, then you find out more what can be done.
Yeah. Yeah, mainly what I'll be looking at here is just, is the API easy enough to work with? Is it hard to get an API key? Those kind of things.
Yeah.
So that'll be good.
All right.
That sounds good to me. Do you want to go over anything else today, or do you want to save that for Wednesday?
No, we'll talk again Wednesday.
Okay. And then anything in particular you want to go over on Wednesday?
No. I mean, I'll see. I'm behind.
Okay.
I don't know how else to say it. I had to go down to my daughter's in San Luis Obispo, California. I had to go down there. She had a biohazard in her backyard.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, we didn't know what was in it, but the kids there that lived there before her just had a 33-gallon garbage can that they were throwing all kinds of junk in and filled up with water, and it was fermenting, and it was like, and then we just did some general cleanup in the backyard and that kind of stuff.
Oh, nice.
I got and then today I had to go to the dumps and dump everything. I filled a van with full of stuff, and so I'm exhausted.
I bet. Sounds like the not most relaxing kind of weekend.
No, it was, yeah. And then a 3-hour drive on the way home. And the worst was the 3-hour drive. Normally it's 3 hours. It took 5 hours.
Oh, yikes.
So a total of 8 hours on the road, 4 hours there. And then I had to finish up today. My wife went into eye surgery. She had a cataract new lens put in today. So yeah, I've been scrambling.
Oh man. Okay. If midterms wasn't crazy enough, it just got crazier, huh?
Yeah. Very good.
All right. Yeah, well, I'll do the research. I'll do the heavy lifting on the API stuff, and then just keep going through the content of my website if you want, and just come ready with questions, and we can just do that on Wednesday.
Okay. Very good.
And then I'll report on the APIs, what I find, and what I think would be most doable, I guess, or if any of them are.
Okay. Very good.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Daniel.
All right. Bye.